For now, let's go through the newspapers now, and Oliver Farry is with us today. Morning to you, Oliver.
Morning.
Not surprisingly, the main story the papers are covering is, of course, the Panama Papers, that massive leak.
Yes, it's the biggest information leak in the history of journalism. A total of 11.5 million files from the Panama-based firm Mossack Fonseca were handed over to journalists, initially at the Süddeutsche Zeitung, the German paper. This constitutes 2.6 terabytes of data. Now, to give you an idea of how big that is, you would need the hard drives of 13 regular laptops to store all of it. It dwarfs all previous leaks in size, including the previous biggest, offshore leaks in 2013, which was 12 times smaller. 107 newspapers in 76 countries around the world were involved in sifting through the information. One of these was the French daily Le Monde, which details offshore shell companies that were created by Mossack Fonseca for clients to hide their money. Among the clients are 140 public figures and political leaders, 12 heads of state or heads of government, including 6 currently in office. Among those are Icelandic Prime Minister Sigmundur David Gunnlaugsson, Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko, and the President of the United Arab Emirates and the King of Saudi Arabia.
Now, the Russian President Vladimir Putin, he's also been named, hasn't he?
Yes, and though President Putin is not directly connected, he is mentioned because of his connection to a Russian bank, Bank Russia, founded in 1990. Le Monde calls it the main bank of those in power. It's said to have supplied funds to several offshore companies whose real owners were members of Vladimir Putin's close circle. Le Monde says that a White House official in 2014 called the establishment the Russian government's crony bank, and Yuri Kovalchuk, its main shareholder, was named the personal banker of a number of its leaders, including Putin. Now, it's not just political figures, but also celebrities, including sports people such as Lionel Messi, who has already been investigated for tax evasion by Spanish authorities. Former French footballer and later disgraced UEFA President Michel Platini is accused of being the real owner of Balne Enterprises, an offshore company created in Panama in 2007, the day after he was named head of European football's governing body. The company is still active and supposedly holds an account in a bank based in Geneva. Le Monde asks, what is the purpose of this company set up on the initiative of the bank and overseen by 5 directors who are clearly figureheads standing in for Michel Platini? It's a question the former France captain has not been willing to answer. Platini has continued to say that his business dealings are perfectly legal.
Now, there's no suggestion that the people who've been mentioned have been acting illegally, but there are some illegal practices involved here, such as undeclared earnings.
That's right, and it's actually quite a big problem. It's a big problem across France in particular, because it actually is defrauding the public purse of quite an awful lot of money. The business daily Les Echos reports that defrauding of social security payments in France is as high as 6 to 7.4 billion euros per year. This means payment for undeclared labour beat new records in 2015. Now, undeclared earnings, just like tax evasion, is a big loss to the public purse. Consequently has an effect on public services. The Paris daily Le Parisien says that since last September, 20,000 teaching days across France in schools have been affected for lack of teachers. The headline is, too many classes without a teacher. It denounces the Ministry of Education's lack of funds, and particularly the lean years of the Sarkozy administration, during which 10% of replacement staff, or 2,600 teachers, were cut. Now, Le Parisien notes that this cruel mathematical reality, the creation of new classes planned by the government, is generating an even bigger problem and a number of people to replace, effectively forcing the government to square the circle.
Now, the France's justice system is also cash-strapped, isn't it, Oliver?
Yes, the free paper 20 Minutes is worried about a justice system that has been strangled by lack of funds. It's having an impact on the smallest detail. Sometimes there isn't even any heating in certain courtrooms. Expert witnesses are paid late. Forensic analyses are being restricted. The judicial system is drowning, is the paper's headline. It also reports the Minister for Justice himself, Jean-Jacques Urvoas, is worried. He said yesterday that the justice system is in a state of absolute emergency. He's obviously trying to get his piece of the pie for the ministry at a time when the finance ministry at Bercy is deciding on who gets what, with the presidential election coming up in just over a year.
And certainly something to follow. We'll be coming back to that, I imagine, of course, Oliver, when we speak to you again at around 9:15 Paris time.